Is it legal or not? Anytime we start with that, we know the question typically comes from Jason.
Loophole Goodman over there.
He really wants to get a third vaccine shot, and he will only not do it possibly if it's considered illegal.
Well, it depends on how much trouble you actually would get in.
So the severity matters.
Right. So it's like a low-grade misdemeanor. You still might do it.
And the reason for this is because of the research and the studies that I've read about. So in Israel, they're already doing a third vaccine of the Pfizer shot, which Pfizer came out with a study that showed that it actually is like 10-fold better to prevent against the Delta variant just to get it than if you don't have it.
The third shot.
Okay. So in Israel, they're already giving it to people with comorbidities and people over the age of 65, and they're starting to roll it out. And Pfizer did release this study that showed, no, it's way better being like this, especially after 5 to 6 months of getting the last time you get your shot, because they're saying some of the Pfizer shots and maybe others are waning off a little bit after 6 months and not as effective with just getting it.
I see.
However, they stopped short in the United States of approving it for various reasons. One of the theories is that, one, it's going to create a lot of havoc right away until they have a system in place. Two, the World Health Organization says that the poorer countries should actually be getting just their initial shots first before the wealthier countries take advantage of the third shot.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Right.
And then I read an article that says already 1,000 people they documented got a third shot by, which I'm very good at, manipulating their way in.
So basically what you have to do is lie.
Well,
right.
There's two ways.
Okay.
One is they go in and you answer the questions, and hopefully they don't ask the question that you have to lie. You see what I'm saying?
Wait,
Right.
I'm going to need a flow chart here. I don't know.
You need to omit
Basically,
certain things.
if you go in and go in to get a vaccine, and let's say it's at it's various pharmacies, different clinics, you go in and you just sign up to get the shot, that when they don't ask you the question, have you already received the vaccine? Or did they say, have you already received the Moderna vaccine? And you can say, no. And then you check that you want Pfizer. So there's a bunch of ways. But yes, ultimately, the most people are probably saying, no, I haven't gotten the shot yet.
And they just get the first one. And they never come back for the fourth one.
Well, yeah, you can. I mean, it goes into a database, but not all the database, from what I understand, in the United States are intact that well.
Wow.
And depending on
Shocking.
I know, right?
depending on where you get it. Now, if you're getting it from Health and Human Services, and you go back to Health and Human Services and say, no, I haven't get it yet, it's gonna flag it. But let's say you're an independent pharmacy and don't have the database. Then they turned it in after the fact. Then they see, that person already got the shot.
No wonder we saw on our shared computer Google searches for independent pharmacies from Jason.
That makes sense.
Non-chain pharmacies.
It's all different.
Sexless marriages and independent pharmacies. Those are the Google searches
It's all
coming
different.
up.
So I thought, I almost booked my appointment yesterday. I had it booked. I already booked it, and I did. I put, nope, didn't get it yet, because they're saying, is this your first shot? And I was like, well, first shot of what? This is my first shot this month.
First shot today.
And I booked it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wait till I talk to the official attorney, Lisa Lanier, to see how much trouble I actually could get in. Because you know what? I'm not for the mask at all. So if I want to really be protected, though. So I want the third shot to be protected. And then I could also, one of the big thing is, when I got my shot so early, before most people got it, I felt so good walking around other people that I know and saying, yeah, I'm already vaccinated.
I remember.
I went through Mexico, everywhere, and did that. I want to go around when people are saying, oh, you can still get it. I got my third shot. I want to say that.
You want to be better than people.
Yeah.
I understand it. I get it.
That's what he wants.
Anytime you give a leg up on anybody, why
Yes,
not?
that's exactly.
We do have our official attorney, Lisa Lanier, on the phone. Good morning, Lisa.
Hey, good morning. That is the best reason I've heard for getting the vaccine.
Be better than other people.
Yes, and throw it in their face.
Exactly.
So,
Wow, Jason Goodman, your analysis of this thing is impressive. I've never heard you take such a deep dive into anything. That is awesome.
when it comes to COVID and COVID numbers and vaccines and everything and variants and China and India and Great Britain and I've heard him saying Boris Johnson. I'm like, what are you? I hear Boris Johnson coming out of his office. I'm like, oh, he's talking about
and World Health Organization. He said World Health Organization.
He did.
Wow.
Well, I will say, when I get onto something, I tend to overdo it or become, some doctors say, OCD.
Yeah, compulsive is exactly the word I would use.
So, is this fraud? Is this wrong? Is it illegal? Or is it just kind of like unethical?
Well, so that's what most people are calling it, unethical. Technically,
that's okay.
Oh, yeah, he's good with that.
every state, I will say every state has a law in some form or fashion that enables you to prosecute people for obtaining, procuring medication by deceit or fraud. those statutes are aimed at people who are, trying to get opioids and stuff and getting multiple docs to write multiple prescriptions and things like that. You have not seen, they say that thousands of people are already trying to get the third shot, and you haven't seen a single prosecution for it. So I don't think you're going, your risk is very low for anyone using the law. So technically, by the letter of the law, it is a violation of these statutes of obtaining medication by fraud or deceit. But we're not seeing any prosecutions for it. So I think your risk there is pretty low. There are some other issues, possible implications that you have to think about down the road, because it could go in your permanent medical record. And so then when there is a requirement for you to show that you've had a booster, because, I think we're going to kind of a culture where you're going to have to show your vaccination card, especially after it's FDA approved, in order to get into events or things like that. Mm-hmm. And so what happens if you have obtained a third shot by deceit, and then they come along and say late September they come out with a booster for you? Now you can't get the booster, right? Because I'd be afraid to get the booster if I just had the third shot. And so now you can't show people going forward that you've had the booster. So you may be able, you may have some issues there.
Why wouldn't you be able to show so for instance, if I have a vaccination card, I have both shots on it, and then I get a new vaccination card, it clearly says how many times I got the vaccine. So you're saying the booster cards might be different?
Yeah, you might. Like you're saying, if you go to an independent pharmacy or something like that, you're better off, but aren't you afraid to get the booster then if you've just gotten the third shot?
Well, he's not. He wants all the shots.
I was considering doing a whole new, like Moderna, going there and saying, nope, first time, and getting Moderna twice, because I will tell you, there's some logic to that. There's some logic to that. And there is this issue with, like you said, the medical records don't all track together. So, and I actually had my own personal physician told me the other day, because you guys remember I battled cancer a few years ago, kicked his butt, but, had it. So my immune system is lowered because of the chemotherapy that I had. And so my doctor told me just recently, in the last week, I went in for a visit, and he said, the vaccine may not have really been as effective with you because your body didn't have that immune component to make it work. So he said, you really need to get the booster as soon as it's available, or the third shot. And he went so far as to say, CVS Pharmacy does not share their database with, like, the Department of Health and Human Services. And he said,
wink, wink.
He literally said, I'm not telling you to do this.
Wow.
But he said people are going to CVS and getting another shot. And some people believe that it's better to mix it up and, like you said, get Moderna the next time. So, people are definitely doing it. Now, I'm not encouraging anyone to do it for sure, but it is, like you said, Pfizer has said that the effectiveness of their vaccine, as well as probably the others, starts to wane at 6 months. And a lot of us are, approaching that 6-month mark, and it's pretty scary. So hopefully, my doctor did say that they are hopefully going to, by September, approve a booster or a third shot. So hopefully very soon we will all legitimately get it. But to answer your basic question, Jason, your chances of being prosecuted are extremely low.
Now, if you were prosecuted, let's say
he'd be the first one.
Let's say if someone dropped a dime on him, snitched, Squid, I have him snitch for me. What could you face? Let's just say, take the vaccine out of it. If you are receiving medical or medicine by deceit, is that a misdemeanor? Is that a felony? Or it depends on what it is, how much you're getting?
It depends on what it is. And usually, because this is not a scheduled controlled substance, it wouldn't be probably a significant penalty. It probably would be a lower, like a misdemeanor or something. But I don't see people prosecuting for that. Even if you snitch, I really don't. I don't see it happening.
And that's my point. Like, so for what Lisa, I've read articles about what she's saying as well, the mixing of it. It's actually, and then now that's not recommended, and there's no countries that are necessarily doing that yet. There is Israel is actually doing the third Pfizer, so you already know that most of it's all, at least on what we've seen, is safe doing it that way. You see what I'm saying?
Right, I got you.
There was one instance where a doctor accidentally put in 4 Pfizer shots right away to a woman by accident because they were stressed out or something. They didn't mix they didn't water
dilute
it, and she was actually fine. But my thought of the whole thing is we did get them early. I think they're trying to get their systems in place, and what's going to happen is when they come out and approve this third booster shot, it's going to be scheduled again for So I'm gonna have to knock another elderly person over to go get the shot. No, I'm just kidding.
Jason,
I'm not saying I didn't, but it's gonna be. So if you take advantage of it now, well, there is plenty of shots.
There's plenty of shots. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
You take advantage of it now, then I feel like I would be much more protected, and I would probably do the Pfizer one, even though I've considered actually going in and doing a Moderna. I would do the Pfizer one just because it's already been done and doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, Jason, I think you're missing out because he's big in. Sorry, Lisa. He's big into kind of organized crime. Like a black market for the vaccine for the third shot.
Yeah.
You can make a lot of money. Meet Jason.
You can be like a broker. You can broker people to do this.
Yeah, that's Jared adding things that aren't true about.
Oh, really? Oh, he have no connection.
There's kind of another twist on this about lying about vaccination, and that's apparently there's a big trend in people lying about their vaccination status.
Right.
And there have been threats of prosecution under laws that say, if you knowingly expose someone to a communicable disease, that is a crime. And there have been threatened prosecutions around that because people who are anti-vaxxers but don't want people to know it, and they're claiming that they're vaccinated, in maybe like a work situation where everyone is supposed to be vaccinated, and they're saying, oh, yeah, I was vaccinated. Turns out they're not, and they spread the disease. There have been some threats of prosecution there.
And also people are faking their because the vaccination cards are very easy to probably duplicate.
Yeah.
And but Lisa, real quick, do you think though if I got a third shot, I would get another vaccination card, so I would have the two cards to show, and then if they're like, oh, you're gonna have to be able to get into this event by getting the booster too. I still have documentation I had all three, and maybe by that point I just go in saying, look, I already have three and need a new card, or I would just get the fourth. I would just get the fourth one.
He's gonna have the most shots of everyone.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like you join those like sub clubs or whatever, and sometimes they stamp it.
Oh,
when you need to get like 10 subs to get a free one. I always feel embarrassed. I see this is how Jason and I are different. I am embarrassed to bring in two cards that have like 6 stamps on it. You know what I'm saying? Like I lost one card and got another one.
Right.
Like no, but I have another one. Can you count these and put them all together? But Jason has no problem doing that with the vaccine. I got 4 cards and there's half a vaccine here and the third one over here.
And then I would say, if they say anything like, well, how did you do this? I would say, I went in there and asked for a third shot and this is what they gave me. I would just say it.
Absolutely.
I'm going to change his name to Jason Good Manipulator. That's my new nickname.
That's a nice ring to it, actually.
You like it?
That's a really good one. As always,
and
Lisa, I know you mentioned you had cancer a couple years ago, but we're, of course, so glad you're doing well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm doing great.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that. And she's great. She's official attorney of Jared and Katie in the Morning. She kicked cancer's butt, and she can help you out with anything that you need if you're ever injured on the job. And she does a lot more than that. Go to hireaheavyweight.com. That's hireaheavyweight.com.